Ahoy, visitors of Patronarch's virtual world! In this video, let's have a look at the overclocking/undervolting potential of the Asrock Radeon RX 9070 XT Steel Legend. We can use AMD's Adrenaline software for tweaking parameters of the GPU and also for monitoring. Go into the Performance tab and then the Tuning sub-tab. There, you need to choose the Custom Tuning preset. You can now toggle the following items: GPU tuning, VRAM tuning, fan tuning, and power tuning. You can also save or load configuration profiles. Enabling GPU tuning gives you the option to change the max frequency offset and voltage offset. Enabling VRAM tuning gives you access to memory timing and max frequency. After some testing, it seems that changing the GPU max frequency offset does not do much, if anything at all. The most important parameters to tweak are the voltage offset and memory frequency, and to a lesser extent also the power limit. We will explore the value of adjusting power limits in a follow-up video. Changing memory timing value resulted in instant crashes, so leave it at default. Okay, so now you know what to tweak. Keep in mind that these parameters can be tweaked globally or per game. Different workloads or games will have different stable overclock values. I'm aiming for a globally stable overclock just because I'm too lazy to set custom values for every game, which means I need to set global values based on the least stable workload. Let's describe the overall overclocking process now. I would suggest starting with Firestrike Ultra, or if you don't have it, with your favorite game. Game stability can be poor due to drivers, so it might crash even at stock values. So it is always a good idea to test every game initially without OC before trying to assess OC stability. The hardest game for me to achieve stability in was Helldivers 2. If you have it, you can save yourself some time by starting your stability testing with this one. Cyberpunk or Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora are also good alternatives. If a game randomly crashes even at factory stock values, it's best to avoid using it for the overclocking process. If you haven't seen it yet, you can check out my previous video testing the performance of RX 9070 XT in 69 benchmarks. And I also looked at performance resolution scaling, which can serve as a useful indicator of potential performance gains with upscaling technologies like FSR. Start with a voltage offset of -100 mV. Run a benchmark at least 5 times or play your game for some time, like half an hour. If it is stable and there are no visual artifacts present, you can increase the negative offset by another 10 mV. So to -110. And then repeat the stability testing. Repeat this loop until your game crashes, and then reduce the negative voltage offset to the latest non-crashing value. However, in case the starting -100 mV was not stable, you have to reduce the offset, so from -100 mV go to -90, 80, and so on until it is stable. Now you should repeat this testing for as many games as you can, always starting with the previously found stable voltage offset and backing up from there. Moving right on the slider, slowly increasing global stability. After you found a generally stable undervolt value, we can proceed to video memory OC. I would suggest starting at 2700 MHz and doing a similar process as for the voltage offset, except that the incremental change will be 50 MHz. This time though, you should also monitor game performance in addition to crashes or artifacts, as overclocking memory might not immediately crash your game, but could instead decrease your performance. So always check your performance gains. Before performance starts to degrade, you might notice it leveling off, which means that further increasing the clocks won't provide any additional benefit. Memory clocks can affect different workloads in various ways, so boosting them might not offer the same gains across all tasks. Also, when measuring performance, ensure consistent conditions. Use the same monitoring tool, keep the same apps running in the background, and so on. These factors can slightly affect performance and potentially mislead you when assessing gains. Another useful tip for you. If you are using in-game benchmark tools, it becomes much easier to spot changes in performance. On this card model, overclocking the memory can easily push temperatures above 90 degrees Celsius. For instance, it reached 92 degrees in Avatar. If you are not comfortable with these temperatures, you can adjust the fan curve to spin faster. The trade-off will be increased fan noise, but since the card is very quiet at its default settings, there is plenty of room to increase the fan speed. Undervolting the core will not result in higher temperatures, so no worries there. The overclocking process I've just described isn't the exact one I personally followed, but rather a refined version based on my experimentation. You can see the games I've tested, their order and the adjusted values in the Excel sheet currently displayed on the screen. I've achieved stability with negative 80 mV undervolt on the core and 2736 MHz on video memory. The core is operating at the same temperature, while memory temperatures have risen by about 3 to 4 degrees. However, keep in mind that this might not be 100% stable. More testing with additional games will provide more clarity. For now, it's acceptable. Finally, let's have a look at the performance gains. I'm using the same setup and testing methodology as in my previous video, and you can find the graphical settings for the games there as well. These are the average performance gains for each resolution. Generally, the most significant improvements occur at 4K, and as the resolution decreases, the gains reduce, likely due to the CPU taking on more work. Overall, there is about a 5% performance gain with the overclock card at 4K resolution, consuming the same amount of power, though with slightly higher video memory temperatures at the default fan curve. I suppose Firestrike Ultra's graphics core gains are a good indication for FPS gains in games. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for the next one, where we'll explore adjusting power limits to find a sweet spot between power and performance.